Dear President Trump, I know I don't look so good. I've been undergoing chemotherapy since May, and it takes a lot out of you. The good news is that Obamacare is keeping me alive and can cure my stage 4 cancer, but I need to keep my insurance. Your latest plan will put me and millions of other Americans at risk. Throwing us to the mercy of the insurance companies is not the way to go. We need the protections of the Affordable Care Act so that people with pre-existing conditions will be covered. We need somebody that will stand up for us rather than selling us out.
Do you support Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
Affordable Care Act.
And why is that?
Well, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Obama, so I don't support him in the Obama things that he's got going on. I'm actually really excited for President-elect Donald Trump, so.
Right. So you don't like anything Obama does, and you prefer the Affordable Care Act?
Absolutely.
Do you support Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
I support Obamacare.
So if you were a senator and you could vote today, you would vote to keep Obamacare instead of the Affordable Care Act?
Yes.
Do you support Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
I guess the Affordable Care Act?
And why do you prefer the Affordable Care Act over Obamacare?
I'm not really sure. My girlfriend supports Trump, so I go with whatever she says.
What is the main difference between Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act?
One is you pay, and then the other one is Obama pays for you.
Right, Obama pays, pretty big difference.
Pretty big difference.
I believe that Obamacare, the premiums are too high, so people end up paying more.
Right.
So I believe in the Affordable Care Act.
And so the Affordable Care Act is more affordable than Obamacare?
Right, correct.
Right.
Which is obvious based on the name.
It's in the name, right.
Right.
Why do you like the Affordable Care Act more than Obamacare?
Because I don't like Obama.
But you like the Affordable Care Act?
Yeah.
What if I told you Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act are the same thing?
The healthcare system that you're saying sucks is Obamacare. We told you this would happen.
Shit. She got us, you guys. How do we put this in terms that they can understand? Let's say you are in a critical thinking class and you're obviously failing it. Then in the fourth quarter of the class, you do a little bit of extra credit and you improve your grade from an F to a D. You get your report card at the end of the year and the teacher says you got a D. And you go, I should have never done that extra credit. You don't blame the little improvement for the reason why it's bad in the first place. Obamacare is a set of pretty basic regulations. It is not a healthcare system. Obamacare just said no more pre-existing conditions clauses. It said you can't charge people more because of their genitalia. It said no more policy maximums, which says that the policy doesn't have to pay anymore if you're too sick, along with a couple of other very basic regulations that made it so that people couldn't just be denied coverage because they were unlucky. And they balanced that out with a requirement that everybody has to be covered. It's the only way that insurance can actually work. Now, I know whiny McDrunky Pants turned this video off like 45 seconds ago, but in the off chance that any other MAGAs are still here, congratulations, I love you, and I hope you have access to healthcare.
People are breaking down on TikTok because they just realized Obamacare is the Affordable Care Act. The heartbreaking part, so many have pre-existing conditions. One man admitted he voted for Trump without knowing it was Obamacare that allowed his mother with stage 4 cancer to get treatment. This is what happens when misinformation wins out over facts. So we've got Trump voters out here with pre-existing conditions who are out there crying because they just figured out that Obamacare, it's actually the Affordable Care Act. Seriously? These are the same folks who just voted to repeal the very law that's been helping them out. It's kind of mind-blowing, isn't it? Like, they've been living life thinking they're good, all thanks to, you guessed it, Obamacare. This situation is a classic reminder of why it's so important to stay informed about what's really going on. I mean, understanding these things shouldn't be rocket science. Google is free. Don't Google after the election, Google before. But we've got all the information at our fingertips, but some folks still don't bother to dig a little deeper. It's frustrating to see people get caught up in political rhetoric without really knowing what they're voting for. At the end of the day, it's about your health and your future. You need to be smarter and more aware so we don't end up crying over something we could have understood better in the first place. Let's make sure we're all in the know the next time it counts in 2028.
Obamacare was not a disaster, and I really wish y'all would stop spreading that lie. And it's got to be because either A, you're too young to remember what the financial market and environment looked like back in like 2006, 2008, or you got a very short memory. I entered the workforce back in 2006, the same year I entered college, and the minimum wage was $5.15 an hour. Maybe 1 or 2 years after that, it was $6.55 an hour. At $5.15 an hour, $6.55 an hour, you were not getting insurance through the company. I remember that vividly. That premium was going to at least eat up 1 week of your check, and you only making $200 a week anyway. And you for damn sure wasn't going to get it privately because the premiums are even higher. This is why people back in the day told y'all, get a job with the post office, get a job with the city, get a job with the state, work for the government. Why? Because you may not get rich working for the government, but them benefits are going to make sure you're taken care of. But if you want to know the value of the ACA, you can just look at the benefits they celebrate. Do you know how many people were denied coverage due to pre-existing conditions? Do you understand how many people had the prices of their insurance jacked up just because they got sick? Y'all are harder on this legislation than y'all are on the companies that cause need for legislation. High premiums existed long before the Affordable Care Act. High deductibles existed long before the Affordable Care Act. Medical debt definitely existed long before the Affordable Care Act. In fact, medical debt has always been one of the leading causes of bankruptcy in the United States. The Affordable Care Act was originally meant to be a step toward universal health care. The problem is nobody else has taken another step to actually accomplish the goal of universal health care for citizens of the United States. Y'all got to start doing some research on your own instead of regurgitating these talking points that are completely unfounded.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and it's really amazing having you here, my viewers, my subscribers, and always commenting on my videos. So make a comment so we can discuss about this issue of Obamacare and Affordable Care Act. So tell me your thoughts in the comment section. I'll be waiting, I'll be reading, and I'll be replying to every comment. So what are your thoughts?
Obamacare was the reason insurance became as expensive as it is. Do you think so? Just so happens right here in my hand, I have 2 EOBs that I got in the mail today. That's an explanation of benefits from my insurance company. One of these is for routine annual blood work. Yeah, at the doctor's office. What do you think they charged for that? What do you think they charge for routine annual blood work? How about $2,712 for blood work? Yeah. And then the second one here, let me look. It's about 2 weeks later, my wife got sick. And she went to urgent care. We thought she had the flu. They tested her for flu, COVID, and the strep. Do you know what they billed my insurance company? $708 to test her for the flu, COVID, and strep. All tests, by the way, that I could go down to Walgreens and buy for probably 30 or 40 bucks for all of them. So if you want to know why health insurance is so high, this is why. $2,700 for blood work and $700 to get tested for the flu and COVID and strep. Yeah, that's why. Thanks.
Well, let me look right into the camera and tell you very clearly, Republicans are the ones concerned about health care.
I'm sorry, what?
Republicans are the party working around the clock every day to fix health care.
How?
This is not talking points for us. We've done it.
You've done it. How?
A big part of the One Big Beautiful Bill, the Working Families Tax Cut, was to fix health care. Health care is broken in America. It's too expensive. The quality of care needs to rise.
Hey, we need to get real here. The Republicans have tried to repeal Obamacare, also known as the Affordable Care Act, dozens and dozens of times.
I have lots of ideas to do that.
You have filed lawsuits to strip protections for pre-existing conditions. You have expanded junk insurance plans. These plans did not have to comply with the ACA's consumer protections and could deny coverage for pre-existing conditions and essential health benefits. You want more? You have gutted Medicaid in your own red states. You have allowed insurers to charge higher premiums based on health status. The 2025 Republican budget reconciliation legislation includes cuts to Medicaid and expands work requirements for some recipients. Past state experiments with work requirements have shown that many eligible people, including those who are working, lose coverage due to administrative issues. Critics have also warned of the potential for reduced access to services in rural areas due to those funding cuts. So if you live in rural America, good luck. The Republicans don't want to end this shutdown. Why? Because they would have to negotiate with the Democrats to decrease your astronomically rising health insurance premiums. They don't want to do that because the billionaire overlords want those tax cuts. And guess what is going to help them to pay for that? Your premium. Your premium is going to rise to pay for billionaires' tax cuts. So own it, Mike Johnson. You guys wanted this, so you need to own it.
I just had a patient say to me, thank God Trump was elected and we can get rid of this stupid Obamacare and go back to the ACA. Oh, I love being in my reputation era while they're in their fuck around and find out.
So a lot of people on social media today are learning that the reason they have health insurance today or in previous years is largely because of Obamacare. And the reason we're realizing this today, it is the 14th anniversary of Barack Obama signing the Affordable Care Act, the ACA, into law. But as those posts suggest, and as a lot of comments on my videos, especially the one I'll link here on ranking America's presidents, suggest, a lot of people don't really know what's in the ACA, like what it did, what it does, and what the outcomes of it are, and why Republicans have failed to repeal it but are still really trying. So let's talk about it. Now, first of all, any kind of healthcare reform or health insurance reform act that actually got passed in the United States was a really big deal, or as the current president called it. And that's in part because American presidents have been talking about trying to reform Americans' access to healthcare for about a century at this point. And we've seen efforts by FDR and Truman and JFK and LBJ, though he did get Medicare and Medicaid through, and Carter and Clinton all go down in flames. And many of those programs were actually opposed by the American Medical Association, the AMA, which accused these programs of being socialized medicine and lined up their troops against them and got a lot of American people very scared about these programs. But the AMA endorsed the Affordable Care Act in 2009. It was a big win, and one of the reasons they do endorse it is because this is not a super liberal program. Barack Obama moved to the right as far as Democrats were concerned on health insurance programs, and he picked up what had been the Republican plan for health insurance reform. This is not Medicare for all. This is not single payer. This is what had been the Republican alternative to those Democratic plans. Republicans like Richard Nixon, Newt Gingrich, and Mitt Romney had supported these types of plans in the past, which is one of the reasons it was really difficult for Romney to run against Obama in 2012, because he had set up an Obamacare-style system in Massachusetts that worked really well, but now he was arguing that Obamacare doesn't work and running against it. What is actually in the Affordable Care Act? I'm glad you asked. So there's 4 big things you need to know about Obamacare. First, it required proof of health insurance, or you would have to pay a tax penalty, and this is called the individual mandate. It mandates that all individuals have health insurance. Does what it says on the tin. It also says that insurance companies can't really charge sick people more than they would charge a healthy person, and that is basically how insurance companies had worked. They would raise prices really high for people who were disabled or sick or high risk, and then that would keep them out of these insurance plans, and that would keep prices low for all these healthy people, and that's how they made money. Now, the idea of Obamacare is the opposite. Instead of kicking those sick people out, we're going to keep all the healthy people in, and the idea is this would keep insurance companies from going through that whole death spiral where they would just collapse. Now, the Affordable Care Act increased Americans' access to health insurance in 3 different ways. Follow me to part 2 for that.
Starting on November 1st, around 24 million Americans are going to start shopping for health insurance on the Affordable Care Act exchanges for next year. The government is currently shut down as Congress fights over whether or not to extend funding that help people pay for that coverage. If they don't reach a deal, all of those people are in for some serious sticker shock. So the original Obamacare passed in 2010, and it set up this system of income-based subsidies to help people buy their own insurance.
Millions of people will get tax breaks to help them afford coverage, which represents the largest middle-class tax cut for health care in history.
But over the years, a lot of people who they thought would sign up for insurance didn't because it was too expensive. So during the pandemic, they extended these subsidies to lower the price of insurance for almost everyone who bought it.
This is considered one of the biggest things my administration can do, lower cost and expand coverage.
And then what happened was the enrollment started skyrocketing. It's basically doubled. Ironically, a lot of the new enrollment did not occur in states that Democrats govern. It happened in places that we think of as being more Republican. Signups have more than tripled in a bunch of southern states. These are places where there were a lot of low-income people who worked in the kind of jobs that didn't offer them insurance. They are also states that decided not to expand Medicaid under Obamacare, and so that meant that those low-income people didn't have access to any other kind of government program to provide their insurance. If the subsidies don't get extended, on average, the amount people are going to pay for their insurance is going to double. But under the hood of that kind of average increase, there's actually quite a lot of variation. For really low-income people, imagine someone making about $22,000 a year. That person doesn't pay anything towards their insurance now. If the subsidies expire, that person will have to pay $66 a month. For someone earning around $35,000 a year, their premium will go up by $132. And for an older person who's making a little more, say around $65,000, their premiums are going to go up from a couple $100 a month to maybe as much as a couple $1,000s in the most expensive markets. Even though a lot of Republicans continue to dislike Obamacare, they have also come to realize that this is a policy that benefits a lot of the people they represent. There are quite a lot of Republican lawmakers who have publicly acknowledged that they would really like to have a solution to this problem to prevent their constituents from losing affordable health insurance. And I think that's why Democrats have chosen this issue. And I also think it's why there is a chance that there could be a bipartisan deal.
Thank you for watching this video to the end. It's always amazing having you here, my viewers, my subscribers, and everyone who usually comments on my videos. I really appreciate you all. So my main aim of making this video was to show you how Maga Americans don't do research. You know, everything Ayatollah, Supreme Leader, tells them, it's always the truth, you know. So you can see from all these commentators, they all claiming that Affordable Care Act and Obamacare, they're all damn the same thing, only the wording. And what I usually say is that when the Obamacare was introduced, there was massive enrollments from red states until Trump came and told them that it was bad, and they all started hating it for no reason. Now, in the past, when you were a kid, after 18 years, it was usually kicked out of your insurance. But at the moment, it ensures that your kid can stay in your insurance until maybe 26 years of age, or maybe, I don't know. Tell me in the comment section, what are your thoughts? And we have been really divided along political lines. We have been programmed to hate each other until we forget about the real issues that are affecting our healthcare. You saw the other day there was this shooting in New York City. This healthcare CEO, I won't name them, and there was this young man, you know, who is appearing in court even at the moment, Luigi whatever. And I saw Republicans saying that Democrats were celebrating. No one was celebrating. But the real issue is our health insurance sector has been kidnapped by the billionaires. And there is one question I really asked myself. Why are we capitalizing on, one, healthcare, two, food? Why? Because insurance, our healthcare insurance should be only focused on our welfare. You know, as long as you are good to go. But billionaires have bought shares in these companies, you know, and they want quick returns. And this is forcing our premiums to rise. You know what I mean? So what happens if you can't afford these premiums? You'll die. So it's either billionaires make profits or you die. So we are too focused on Obamacare. Oh, Obamacare is expensive. Oh, Obamacare, until we forget the root cause of problems we have in our healthcare. Our healthcare, our hospitals, our doctors, our medicine, everything has been kidnapped. We are on our own. And these guys have lobbyists in Washington. They have a lobbyist in the Congress. They have a lobbyist in Senate. They have lobbyists everywhere. We are on our own, and we are divided. Everyone is hating Obamacare, and no one is looking into the deep root cause of the problems we have in our healthcare today. No one is looking into that. Hatred, hatred, hatred. Some are telling me about in the comment section. What I usually say is stay alert, stay focused. Don't fall for the government psyop. Talk blue, watch blue, listen blue, vote blue. Until the next video, thank you for your attention to this matter.